Greetings, dear viewers. Today we will be traversing into your past lives. It is a perilous journey, but fear not, for I will accompany you. We shall go through mystical portals and wander through magical realms. Ooh. So sit back, relax, and let our journey begin. Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel, NutAeum. We had a very interesting guest in the beginning of this video, giving you a bit of a warning and a reassurance that this is not a dangerous journey and there is nothing to be afraid of in regards to the topic of this video. But yes, so I guess as our dear wizard friend has advised us, this video is going to be about your past lives and messages from your past lives. You can pick more than one group in this reading because there is a very good chance that you've all had more than one lifetime, and to be completely honest, I'm keeping it pretty general as to what will come through. So whether it be something terrestrial or extraterrestrial, we shall uncover that together, I suppose. And before we get into your selections, I just wanted to do a little bit of a self-plug. As some of you guys may know who are returning viewers, I create custom crystal bracelets that are attuned with Reiki, light language, and to the personal energy of the person that they are intended for. This is one of them. This is actually one of the first few bracelets I've ever made. And it is my trusty and true friend. And yeah, the bracelets are catered to be helping you to either create the life that you're looking to create, overcome certain obstacles, or work on certain healing, embody certain traits, etc., etc. So if you guys are interested in a custom crystal bracelet, and also the stones are intuitively chosen, you get a description of the crystals and all of that, you can reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my email, which are in the description box below. And if you guys are also interested in a private or personal reading, you can reach out to me through those modalities as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into your selections. We have 4 groups to choose from today. All the timestamps will be listed down below, as well as the cards that I use in this reading. So, the first group, we have the number 8, and I think it's pronounced Ebens. So that's the first group. That's your card. For group 2, we have the number 40 and water element. For group 3, we have the number 12 with mantis beings. And for group 4, we have the number 38 with the third eye. Okay, guys, I'm not sure what my voice is going to sound like. I got a new tripod thing. Is it a tripod? You know, the thing that holds the camera. And I don't currently have an external microphone, if you will. So my phone that is recording this video is a lot further away from me than normal. So I'm hoping that you guys can hear everything that I'm saying, and that it's not super quiet. So yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna give you a moment to choose your piles, and then we'll get right into the readings. Hey, group one, this is your group if you chose either the number 8, Ebbins, or this image. And let's get straight into your reading. I just finished shuffling the cards. Let me also ring the singing bowl for you guys. Whoop. There you go. All right, you guys. First, we're going to be looking into who were you in that past life, the most prominent past life that's coming through here. Oh, oopsies. Sorry. Oh, this sucks, man. I hope this didn't mess up the angle of the camera. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. Oh, that sucks. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know if this whole video is now gonna be crooked. I really hope not. Maybe if I adjust it this way, maybe my adjusting is making it worse. Oh well, I guess it's gonna be crooked if it's gonna be crooked. Anyway, first we're gonna be looking into, and this is also, by the way, this is about the most prominent past life, because obviously, you know, you can have multiple lives, and this is a general reading, which is why, like, when it comes to energies or careers specifics, I'm gonna list multiple examples because there are multiple people watching this reading. So not everyone here has been a king or a queen, or, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna give you guys multiple examples so that you get the gist of the energy. So we're going to be looking at who you were in the most prominent past life, as well as, I wrote it down, what that lifetime was like for you. Okay. So we've got some pretty cards. I got some new cards that I'm excited to show off on camera as well. So first we have the King of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, the High Priestess. Okay, this is interesting because for whatever reason, the High Priestess was in reverse. So I just want to check if I should keep it reverse. Should I keep it reverse? Shall I be like if I should keep it straight? Okay. I think I'm going to keep it reversed. Okay, and then what that life was like. So we have, oh, interesting. We have the Four of Swords again, the Queen of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. So before we get into the other cards, let's just start off with these. So give me just one moment, guys, to get the picture of what is going on here. Okay. All right, you guys. So what I'm getting for you, group one, is in this past life, the type of person that you were, I feel like you guys were a person of power, or that had a lot of power or some kind of prominence about your career or position in the world. It almost feels like, which is funny enough that I said not everyone was a king or a queen, but right, it does feel like a politician or a leader of sorts, whether it be like an actual like king, queen, president style thing, tribe leader, or a chief. It just feels like there is a position of prominence. So I don't feel like you guys were the actual leader. I feel like you were the child of the leader. So yeah, this is interesting. It feels like you were the child of someone that prominent. And so you just so happen to have a high status as well, just through association, right? So it's almost like if you look at celebrities nowadays, right? How, like, well, actually, I don't know if that's a good example. Do people follow celebrities' children? I don't know. But it just kind of feels, oh, okay. Or like, no, that doesn't count either. But I'll just use the royal family as an example, right? Or okay, yeah, how about like the president, right? So whoever the president is, at least in the US, if they have children, some like what their children do is sometimes prominent, you know, like it depends on how I'm sorry guys, I'm having a hard time finding a genuinely good example for this, but I hope you get what I mean. I just feel like you guys were the child, either the child or like the ward or adopted child of somebody who is prominent in the public eye. And I feel like you guys didn't have options. Like, though you may have been wealthy, though you may have been seen as somebody who is high value, desirable because of your status, I feel like in your personal life, you guys didn't really have many options. You were sort of stuck in the life that you had because of the status. It's almost like the status kept you imprisoned in structure, in living your life based off of a schedule, off of a structure, off of what was expected of you. And though a lot of people have like expectations that they have to live up to when it comes to family, I feel because you guys were in such a public eye with such a prominent relative figure, like whether it was a parent or like an aunt or an uncle, you guys were like, you were associated frequently enough with them that you had to follow a certain set of structures. I feel like in that life, you guys were introduced into something more occult, or like magical, or like into, well, not magical. It feels more occult. So it feels more like you grew up in a very material world and you went on a trip, kind of like the whole Siddhartha story, you know, like you went and experienced the world and you came back with knowledge that they tried to withhold from you. So I feel like you guys experienced some kind of mysticism or like an awakening, because you've always been intuitive in that life. But I think it was something that you had to suppress or put down, because following your gut feeling or instinct wasn't even an option. You didn't have a say. It's not like you were a businessman or a businesswoman and you got a gut feeling about what move to make. Like all of your moves were planned for you. So it just felt like there was a lot of repression that was happening in that life. And again, with the Queen of Wands here, I really feel as though there was something very prominent about you. No one would be able to tell that you were living a repressed life. I think people projected onto you the kind of life that they imagine you have, or the kind of life of someone with high status and all of that. And they imagine it to be like fantastical, but really you were just isolated a lot. You knew how to be charismatic, charming, enthusiastic, how to speak in a pretty way that people can, you know, feel inspired and excited to be in your presence. But again, it just feels like there was a lot of repression and nobody really knew the real you. So it kind of feels like a very lonely life, to be honest with you guys. And again, I do feel like your material needs were always met. Your material needs were provided. And you put on like a happy face a lot of the time. And so people were like, oh, you know, this person is happy. And if there was ever a time, like I think at some point when you were younger in that life, you tried to to indicate like, hey, I'm not happy, like I would like to spend more time with my family, or there was some kind of an actual basic emotional need that you expressed, and it was shut down right away. And I feel like that was the lesson that you learned, that none of your emotional needs would be met. I know this card says satisfaction, but I'm interpreting the card, so I'm getting the message, like ignore the words on the bottom. But yeah. Yeah, oh, that's kind of rough, you guys. That's kind of rough. And I'm going to leave these cards up, but we'll look into the next section. And the next section will be what karma did you acquire from that life, and what you brought over, or like what karma did you acquire from that life, or what you brought over from that life, whether it be emotions or situations and the such. So we have the card 24. We have death, the Hermit, 5 of Swords, 3 of Cups, and King of Cups. I really hope you guys can hear me and that I'm not just yelling for nothing. And I hope it doesn't sound like I'm yelling. Oh my gosh. I need to figure out the whole camera situation thing. But okay, so let me just rearrange it in a more aesthetic way. So give me a second, guys. Okay. All right, you guys. So I feel like what you brought over from that life, and like the karma that you brought over from that life, and how it's expressing itself in your everyday life, something that I feel like just sort of led to you being the way that you were in your childhood or in your teen years, you know, the experiences that you had. Oh, and we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is indicating that this means this is the life when you really are breaking that cycle. You're not meant to be experiencing this the whole time, okay? But what I'm getting here is there's a really good chance that in this life, the type of karma that you guys brought on through this repression and isolation and feeling like inside completely alone despite your exterior, your material world possessions, I feel like, honestly, there seems to be a bit of an aggression that you guys put on. There seems to be like a self-defense that is naturally engraved in you. And so there's a part of you that always feels like you need to protect yourself from others. So I feel like vulnerability for you guys may be a bit of an issue. Not an issue, but like a bit of a hard thing to surrender to, right? I feel like you guys from that life have brought on, because of that, again, that isolation, I feel like there was the repression of the emotions that you felt in that life has turned into aggression here and extreme protection of self. So I just feel, I don't know why I keep looking up at the camera. Like I'm looking up at the camera as if I'm looking at you, but you guys can't even see my face. So I don't know why I keep doing that. That's funny. Yeah, I feel like you guys are very big on like manners and politeness. And I feel like that is something that you brought from that life too. Because remember I was saying, because I keep looking up, right, to be polite, to look you in the eyes, but I'm looking into a camera that doesn't even see my face. So I feel like that is a sign about the same thing here that we mentioned with the politeness, like knowing how to act in front of people, how to be charming. I feel like that was something that you guys brought into. It's easy for you. I feel like you guys are honestly echoing those emotions in general. Like the whole being polite, being kind, you know, people always feel like you care about them. That's the impression that you leave behind. But inside you're lonely or tired. And sometimes it turns into aggression because you feel repressed, and that's the only way that your emotions are trying to handle it or to get that expression to come out. So I actually feel like on some level, you guys are mirroring that life experience. I guess that's why it was one of the more prominent ones. I also feel like the karma that you brought in through that, with this King of Cups, it's making me think about a parent. Now, it can be any kind of a parental figure, so it depends. You know, this is a general reading. Everyone's got different situations. So whether it's an adopted parent, whether it is a grandparent, if you grew up with your grandparents and that was the more prominent parental figure in your life. In this situation, the biggest thing that I'm getting here, it could be a female figure, but I'm getting more so like a father figure. But again, it could be a female figure with a more masculine energy, right? Or if it was like a single mom or something like that, where she takes on a more masculine energy. But it feels more like a fatherly figure or like an uncle that is prominent. But I feel like this is somebody that has more of a masculine energy that is supposed to be taking care of you, but is become more of a narcissist, or makes everything about them and their emotional needs, and it turned you guys into experiencing the same thing here, right? Where something else was greater than you. So here it was whoever that external figure was, whether it was like an actual parent or like I was saying, aunt or uncle. It's interesting. I keep getting aunt and uncle energies here. So in the past life and in this life, it's a little muddled here. So I wonder, that's really curious because I don't normally get that. But yeah, so in this life, it could be either or in that past life and in this life too. And I just feel like this person is prominent enough in your life, and it does feel like they are some sort of guardian to you, at least when you were a child. And yeah, I just feel like they made it all about themselves. And it led you to feeling those same things, feeling repressed, stifled. And you realized early on that your emotional needs are not going to be met. And so it turned into just this repression. I feel like it turned into isolation, the type of karma that you experienced. I think you're actually experiencing, I feel like with this Three of Cups, part of me is taking it a little literally. I feel like there were a couple of people in this life, this past life, including the person, like say for example, if I feel like it is your parents, like a parental figure and somebody else in this life, in this past life. And again, regardless, if the politician, for example, or the person in power was an aunt or an uncle, I'm still getting a parental figure in regards to this karmic cycle. So I do feel like one of your parents from that past life and somebody else that you knew from that past life, you are encountering them or having the same kind of karmic experience with them to be breaking those patterns. So I feel like there are two people from that previous life that you're encountering on a closer relation. And I feel like that parent figure could be also that karmic tie that you've got with what I was saying here with the person who made you feel that you had to repress your emotional needs will not be met. And so you just have to be there for everybody else. There's no point in you going for your goals or dreaming your things. You turn more into isolation, you know, and to feeling like you have to handle everything alone. And again, I just feel like so much stifled energy here, so much repression with you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But yeah, so that's what I'm getting with that. And let's look into what patterns you're meant to overcome. Sorry guys, my throat is dry. Give me 1 second. Honestly, I'm overcoming a little bit of overcoming. Yeah, that's the word. A little bit. I don't know if it's a cold, but I was losing my voice a little. and I just started getting it back, and this yelling is not helping, I will say. So I feel like the yelling is not what I need to be doing, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear. So let's see. Let's see how long I can hold out. But yeah, so also the fact that my throat was acting up during what it is that you guys have to overcome, it makes me think of the throat chakra. So I feel like one of the things that you guys are meant to overcome in this life is expression. Because remember, we were just talking about all of this repression, right? And feeling like you have to hold in all of those emotions because you were told from an early age, your emotional needs will not be met. I am more important than you, so be quiet. Or stay quiet if you want to avoid drama or conflict. Okay, so I feel like that is something that you guys are meant to be overcoming in this life, is expression, which is the thing that was stifled in that past life, right? So you overcoming that is you breaking that karmic cycle. Okay, so the things that you're meant to be overcoming, right? We have the new moon. We have the Knight of Swords, the Page of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Ten of Wands. Wow, this is incredible, because if you look at this Ten of Wands, you see this person is like on a cross. So I think this is so interesting. Okay. So what you guys are meant to overcome in this life, I feel like with the new moon being here, this is all about new beginnings. This is about a fresh start. You are not meant to be repeating that same life. That life ended miserably. It ended sadly, you know, because you ended up, I even feel like you guys were in a relationship, right? Because no choices were made by you. So I feel like there was some kind of an arranged marriage situation in order to make the social status even better or something along those lines, or for some kind of gain for that prominent figure that I was telling you about, like socially prominent figure. So you had to marry somebody that you didn't like. It just felt so lonely in your home, in your family, outside with friends. It was so lonely. In this life, you're not meant to be alone. You guys are actually meant to be experiencing relationships and communication. I feel like one of the things that you're supposed to be overcoming with this Queen of Pentacles and this Nine of Pentacles, it just feels to me like nurturing, right? And with this Page of Cups, it makes me think of the inner child and goals and aspirations. In that previous life, you were not allowed to go for the things that you wanted. With the Dreamer of Cups, this is saying in this life, it is all like it's a new beginning. You're not restricted by that. Now that you know this is a pattern from a previous life, just know that in this life, you're meant to be going for the things that you want. You're meant to be sharing what you're feeling. You're meant to have close relationships. And you're meant to stop feeling like you have to hold everything in till your grave. People are not going to judge you. People are not going to push you away. There are people out there who can be very good friends to you. And I feel like you guys have actually started encountering some of them. And it is okay for you to open up to them. You're not going to push them away. You're not going to scare them away. They're not going to turn away because you started sharing too much or made it about yourself. You hardly ever make it about yourself. So you guys are going to say something as simple as sharing about your day because it was really frustrating and you needed to let it out, as making it about yourself. No, that's a human need. You've got to express yourself, you know? And it's okay to actually make it about yourself every once in a while, right? Because your life is important. So I just feel like in this life, the thing that you're going to be overcoming is really, it is breaking that cycle, and it is going for the things that you want, because you live in a world now where you have a choice. You have a choice to do the things that you want. You're not being forced into anything else, you know? You have a certain amount of freedom that allows you to go for what you want and to be able to find people. Like, we have the internet now, you guys. We have internet communities. You can find the people that feel like family to you if your own family would not fit the description, you know? And with the Spirit of Swords, that to me is the spirit of communication. It's the Knight of Swords. This is about you expressing yourself in the moment. I feel like this is going to be a really big, powerful thing for you. Once you master expressing yourself in the moment, I feel like once you start doing that, it's going to start out with aggressive things. And I think that's the phase you guys are currently in. You started expressing yourself, but it comes out more in arguments or aggressive. Once you get more comfortable with expressing yourself for everything, you'll be able to turn it from aggressive to just being able to communicate in the moment. I think some people are going to be shocked, like, oh, you were so charming as a child. You were so soft-spoken. What happened to you, you know? And it's like, I stopped repressing myself and I'm speaking my mind. That's what happened to me, you know? But yeah, in this life, you guys are meant to be overcoming all of that by going for what it is that you want. Next, we're going to be looking at, and this will be the final thing before I'll roll the dice too as a final message, I think. But this will be the message that your past life self has to you in this life, okay? So we have number 35, luminescence. Number 56, vulnerability. Didn't I just say, like, vulnerability is going to be the thing that you guys are working on here, or that you have a bit of a harder time with? And then we have 54 with trust your innocence. Yeah, I feel like you guys are extremely intuitive. Because remember I was saying, like, in that life you were extremely intuitive too, but it was something you had to hide. Because it's like you had to repress it since it wasn't doing anything. You weren't allowed to use it. So I feel like in this life too, it's like coming back to that as well. Then we have encompass with Virgo. And interesting, Hydra with death. You guys got death twice and a new moon. So that is all about creating a new beginning, putting an end to something and creating a new beginning. Because death was the thing that you brought in from the past life, remember? So give me 1 second here. Okay. I feel like the message from your past life self, it is, which I guess in a some level it is your higher self in that experience, right? Is with luminescence, it's like you're so vibrant and you've tuned out from yourself in that life because you were told that anything that you wanted does not exist apart from what is planned for you. So I feel like that life is saying, I would love if in this life you can just go for the things that you want, to embody yourself, to express yourself, to be authentic to yourself, because in that other life you couldn't be authentic to yourself. You were living by what how someone told you to live. You were feeling what they told you to feel, and that's it. So the biggest thing that past life self would have loved and wants for you is to be able to be living authentically and in full expression of yourself. And if you ever have a hard time thinking like, oh, but what do I want to do with my life? What career do I want to go for? I don't really know. Like, that's all going to come as you start to not only express yourself, but get in touch with yourself, right? Do little things to get in touch with yourself. Try new things. Try painting. Try pottery. Try dancing. Try writing. Try things and see what you like, and then go from there. Once you start seeing the things that you actually like and the things that you don't like, you'll be able to get to know yourself a bit more, and it's going to be able to lead you to understand like, oh, this is kind of what I would like to do career-wise, or this is what I would like to pursue in my life. You know, I just feel like you guys have to get to know yourselves a little bit more. And And that is what that past life, oh, you see, we even have encompass, right? Like encompass your full self. It's like, don't repeat my cycle. Don't be me again. Don't be repressed. That's what that past self is saying. Like that is like their worst fear for you in this life, is that you live a life of repression or through repression, because that was the thing that they were hoping could die with them. Okay? And let me just roll the dice for any final messages here. Okay, we have, oh, interesting. We have North Node, the number 4, the number 17, and Leo. 17 is making me think of the star. And with North Node, that's like purpose, right? That's what is your purpose in this life. And with 4, that's the 4th house. That's the Cancer, right? That's mother, that's the home. And Leo is all about shining. So I feel like they're asking you, again, it's just extra emphasis on moving past the stuff that you've experienced at home. And with the star and Leo, just shine. Just shine. Even with luminescence, you see this person is working on themselves. They're getting to know themselves. Their heart, what their heart wants, their heart's desires, they're cultivating that. They're finding their self-worth, and they're literally glowing because of this, right? Their light comes out of their body, and they're living a life of expression because they're living by their heart. So I feel like that is the final message for you guys too. It's like, please get to know yourself so that you can see what it is that you want, because you deserve to have your wants and needs met. And then go for it, because in this life, you're meant to be living a happy life. You're not supposed to be alone all this time. You're not supposed to feel sad and repressed and like you can't express yourself, or just be stuck living in anger and frustration, right? And there doesn't have to be any guilt or shame with that either, because whoever this King of Cups is in your life that made you feel like your emotions were not valid and their emotions are more important, you're going to have to eventually cut them out of your life, or at least stop seeing them as often. And they're going to make you feel bad about it. And you have to just realize that, no, you deserve to feel good about yourself. You've been conditioned by them. And that's just what it is. It's conditioning. So it's just relearning who you are. Okay, guys? All right, group 1, that was your reading. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if it resonated for you in the comments down below, as I always love hearing from you guys. If you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. And I do have more exciting stuff planned for you guys, so if you'd like to be up to date with that, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you guys are interested in either a custom crystal bracelet or a private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website or through my email. All right, you guys, sending you lots of love and light. Remember, you deserve love, and you deserve to be living a life that is fully expressed. That is your basic human right, okay? That was something that a lot of people had taken away from them before, but you are living in the 21st century. You have the privilege of being able to, if you have the internet to watch this video, then on some level, you can get yourself to that freedom, okay? And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I just mean like, I believe in you, right? If there is a will, there is a way, and there is 100% a way for you guys to get to that place. You just got to work on finding yourself a little first and seeing what it is that you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like, okay? All right, bye guys. Hi group 2, welcome to your reading. This is your reading if you chose either the number 40, water element, or this image. And let's get right into your reading. But before we begin, I did want to say, we'll be looking into, so first we'll be looking into who you were in a past life and what your experience in that life was like. But some things are going to be a bit more general, like I'm not going to say, oh, you were 100% a dentist. You know what I mean? Like I would give a few examples like dentist or this or that or that or that, just because this is a general reading, you guys. And the odds of everyone clicking on this group being a dentist, kind of slim, I would assume. or aspiring to be a dentist. So yeah, so there are a couple of things that are going to be a little bit general, but I think that the gist of that life is going to be what you guys are seeing, right? And in this reading, as well as the experience that you had and how, you know, it's going, how it impacted you in this life, what karma you had brought in, and also a message at the end from your past life self to you now. Okay, so let's get started. We've got, so this first we'll be looking at, again, who you were in a past life and what was that experience like. So you guys got way more cards in this particular department than the last group. So we have the three, oh, actually, you know what? That wasn't, hold up. Let me do it this way. I'll set these aside. So we have death, the King of Swords, Justice. Also, I hope I don't sound like I'm yelling, you guys, but I'm just putting it out there that I did have a little bit of, I don't want to say it's, I don't think it's a cold because I wasn't really coughing or anything, but I had lost my voice a little bit for the last couple of days. So it's been getting better, especially because I haven't been doing the, because keep in mind, right, when I film these readings, I edit out a lot of things in regards to the shuffle, all the stuff, some things that may not be necessary. So like, I'm talking for quite a few hours. So it can sometimes be a little bit of a strain. So if you guys hear me cough or anything like that, that's why. I may need to take a few more breaks to drink water. I'm yelling because, and that doesn't help, by the way, the yelling, but I got a new tripod and my phone is my camera, so I don't have an external microphone, and it's a lot further away from me now. So I'm just hoping that you guys can have, like, you can hear the audio okay. But yeah, we also have the Three of Wands, and we have the High Priestess, the Two of Swords, the Hanged Man, Death, Ace of Cups, the Magician, just gonna move everything over for a second, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Emperor. Okay, let me move things over a little bit more so that you guys can see all of the cards, and give me a moment just to see the picture here. Just a sec, you guys. Okay, honestly, you guys, your past life feels a lot older than the last group. So this was a lot longer ago, I would say. It's making me think of like tribal stuff and Vikings. Like it was a while ago. Yeah, it also, again, I'm getting more like it is way before big cities and all of that. And I feel like in that life, and again, it doesn't have to be an actual like it doesn't have to be a Nordic country or life. Because like I said, this is a general reading, so I'm just going to be giving you the key points of it. So, you know, because I'm not going to say, oh, everyone here has experienced a life in Norway, or in, I don't know, because I was thinking also I'm getting a bit of shamanism here in Peru, you know, or in Africa. So I do feel like the life that we are talking about here did happen again a long time ago. In fact, I don't think you've had as many incarnations on Earth as some people. Not saying that you're not an old soul, because I do feel like you are. I just feel like most of your incarnations on Earth were in more ancient times, in older times and beyond. And again, I'm not saying you're not an old soul. I don't mean like, oh, you only have like 5 past lives. Like, that's not what I mean. It's just, I think some people have more lives on Earth, and then some people have more lives in on other planets and other star systems, right? Or incarnations or experiences there. So you guys do feel like an old, like, I don't know, there's something about you that feels like you weren't on Earth as long as some people. Like, your soul didn't have as many Earth experience as some. So you still hold customs from like your previous star system that you guys were from. At least the star system that you had spent the most time in recently before coming to Earth. So not where you're from, but again, the star system that you had spent the most time in recently before your soul decided to come to Earth. And so you have had earthly lives, but again, like, I'm just seeing, like, I am seeing Vikings. I'm not going to lie to you. I am seeing Vikings. So some of you guys could have, experienced more like Nordic past lives, or actually like have a fascination with maybe ruins or Norse mythology. Maybe you guys even like the cold. Or you feel like you can think clearer when there's colder weather. I'm also getting something about December. So like maybe some of you guys were born in December, or like were born in more winter months, depending on, I guess, where you're from in the world, right? So December is a winter month in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, it is very much summer. So I'm getting December for some of you, but I'm also getting winter months. But yes, but we're talking about a past life, not this life. So I do feel, yeah, I feel the star energy that I was telling you about very strongly. And again, I feel like they keep telling me to emphasize the fact that just because I'm saying you didn't have many lives on Earth, again, it also feels like it's more like maybe you're having a life now, right? And then you had a life in like the 1900s or the 1800s, maybe one in like the 17 or 1600s, you know, like it's not too, it's like one life every century or so. And again, it just feels like most of your lives, the more like you more frequently reincarnated, like 3 or 4 lifetimes. There are like 3, I think it's more like 3 or 4, but I'm feeling more 3. But again, it's a general reading, so for some of you it could have been like 4 lifetimes in like around this time, right? That I was saying, like when the Vikings were, whatever time that was, and other like more ancient civil, like not ancient, but ancient too. But this life is more like, that was, I feel like this was the last life that you guys had in that like constant coming back to Earth cycle. So if we were talking about like you had 3 lives in a row, right? Like you died and then maybe a few years later or like 20 years later, your soul was reincarnated, something like that. or maybe even just like a couple of years later, the soul was reincarnated. I feel like that happened like back to back 3 or 4 times. And this was the last time. This was like the third or fourth time. And then your soul took like a break from coming back to Earth because it, like, the world had shifted in a way that was not what you had come to Earth's cycles for. So I actually feel like you guys have a very powerful purpose and mission on Earth. And even here, with all of this extra emphasis on incarnating specifically in ancient times, I feel like when you did incarnate then, like in the 1800s or something like that, even then, like, you were an alchemist, you know? Like, there was something of an alchemy essence about you. So even in this past life, there seems to be a certain wisdom, a certain knowledge that you guys have come onto this planet with from that star system that I was telling you about. Like, your soul is not as tainted by earthly experiences as some people. Some people got really stuck in a really big karmic cycle. And they've just been incarnating and like making things possibly worse and keeping the lessons going for a long time. But I just feel like with you guys, you incarnate when the world could use you because you're a light worker. And I know this is supposed to be about this past life in particular, but like this message seems to be coming through the most. And it's just so funny that you guys have the most so far past life related cards, because, and less of the current life stuff. I just think it's showing like you guys probably were really hoping to hear more about your past lives. But the thing that's coming through the most is this. But let's see if I can get something in specific about this past life that's coming through. Because again, I am seeing more of a like the last, again, incarnation feels more Nordic, and again, ancient civilization. So not all of you guys, obviously, were going to be Vikings. And I don't feel like even in that time that you were incarnated as, well, maybe. Okay, what it feels like in this life that's coming through. In this life, I feel like it's something about you feels like an elder, like a wise elder. People come to you. Honestly, this energy is more masculine than feminine. So I would say that the majority of you guys in this life, in this incarnation, were most likely masculine. You're most likely men. And I said majority, meaning, again, since it's a general reading, there were definitely some females here, but it just feels like the majority were male. And I feel like people came to you. People came to you to seek out advice. You guys were very intuitive then. I think you had a very powerful energy. No one ever dared to mess with you. I feel like the village or town that you were a part of would speak highly of you, you know? It almost feels as though, sorry for the sirens, guys. I'm gonna wait for them to pass, okay? It almost feels as though, like I was saying, like either you were an elder or people came to you for advice, and I feel like there was some kind of healing that you did too. Like there is a certain sense of mystery. And again, we talked about alchemy in another life, right? I just feel like you guys did that too. Like you guys were healers. There was something mystical about you. Like people came to you to seek answers. If they couldn't find answers on their own, or if they couldn't find answers from anyone else, they come to you. They would come to you guys. And you guys were always very fair. I mean, if you look, you have justice here, right? With the scales. But even the death card, it's like there are two fish here looking at each other like a mirror, right? And the King of Swords too, that's all about fairness. So I just feel, oh, I just got chills. Like I just really feel as though you were always impartial. You did not judge people. That's what I'm saying. There's something more spiritual about you guys. There's something more evolved about you. And like I was saying, like the world needed you, or that place needed you, which is why you came. You were around more in ancient civilizations because you were part of the beings that helped guide humans. You were one of the light workers that helped guide humans in those ancient times. And then once the world started going a bit amok, you started incarnating less. because it wasn't the right time for you to be here. So I feel like you guys have a very, very, very powerful soul. I also feel as though you guys chose water, which is interesting because you know what? I keep getting like that cold climate and I just got chills again. And with this water, again, I keep getting like Vikings, right? I'm not saying you were Vikings. I'm just saying it's like, like that's the kind of vibe I'm getting, you know, like it just seems colder, like a colder area, like the Arctic, you know, there's water around. But again, it doesn't have to just be that, because I was getting shaman like energy. Oh, that's why I also, even with shaman energy, right? It's like, it's about tipping the scales. It's about, even here with death, there's a light in the center. With this Three of Wands, this squirrel is like holding the wands. It's gathering the wands. So that was something that you could do. You could do soul retrieval, regardless of where your country of origin or place of origin at that time was. You acted like this type of a person, like a shaman, like a healer, like a mystic, like an elder. Even when you weren't old, like that's the thing. Like I'm not even seeing you guys being super old. Like I'm just seeing you, even if you were in like well, I guess I don't know if this was considered old for them back then, but like in your 30s, you know what I mean? Your 20s, like people still came to you, you know, like 25, around 24, 25. I feel like that's when you became even more established. I feel like even as a child, there was something unique about you. Like, and everyone could sort of feel it. I think when you were younger, people tried to discipline you more in that life. Because there was a certain wisdom, like you looked at people around you as though you were observing foreigners, you know? And it's because you guys came from another world. I mean, yes, you were, like I was saying, this was like, you had a few lives incarnated, right? I feel like you guys definitely had a life in ancient Egypt as well. You could have had a life in Atlantis too, Lemuria, like the ancient civilizations. I just feel like you guys were going from there, you know? And so you incarnated in a couple of places, and like I was saying, those like back-to-back lives. And that's why this life was the last one, because this was already, after this, like again, society and the world started tipping in a different direction, and it wasn't time for you to come back. So I just feel like, again, there's like that emphasis, you know, like I was saying before, when you guys were kids in that life, I just feel as though maybe like adults tried to put you in your place, but they realized pretty quickly, like that wasn't something that, like they can all sense that there was something about you. Even as a child, there was a certain power about you. And I think that intimidated some of the adults, because they're like, what is this insolent child doing? Who do they think they are? You know, they would get insecure. But then once they witnessed your might, I guess you can say, it silenced them. And people just sort of, even from a young age, started looking up to you. I don't feel like you guys lived very long by our standards in this life. I think you guys got to maybe like 50 or 60. Again, this is a general reading, okay? But I feel like the majority of you guys got to like 50 or 60 years old, which by their standards, I believe was considered long. But you've been doing that, like I don't even see you guys, how you guys have money. I just feel like people provided for you. You know, I'm not saying you were rich, and you guys didn't want many things either, again, because I feel like on some level you knew who you were, like you had very vivid dreams, and I think the dreams came into this life too. Your dream world is very powerful, but I feel like you guys had very vivid dreams, you know, and yeah, and on some level, because I'm getting the major life that I'm talking about, but I feel like with you guys, I've talked about a couple of different lives, right? Like there was a life in like the 1800s or something along those lines. I'm getting 18, so it was either 1800s or 18th century, but I think it was the 1800s, where you guys were trying to do alchemy, even in that time, you know? So I feel like that was always kind of a part of you. And I just feel like in another life, like there's signs of you guys being a leader. Yeah, like a leader. Like if there were multiple groups, right? You were one of the group leaders. Yeah, I mean, with the death and the justice and the King of Swords, like I'm getting so much like all about just like literally like you guys being impartial, like people coming to you. It was regardless of who came to you. The most important thing was their intention when they came to you, I think. You know, it's very, very powerful stuff. Okay, and then what was that life like? I didn't even look at these cards yet. Okay. The High Priestess, yeah, the Hanged Man, death again, interesting. Again, with death, I feel like, yeah, with death coming up twice, I just feel like it's confirming for me that you guys weren't, after that life, you stopped coming into incarnate as frequently. Ace of Cups, Magician. The Magician is also reinforcing for me like that 1800s life with alchemy. And with the Emperor too, again, it's like people came to you. The High Priestess and the Emperor, people came to you guys for that wisdom, for that knowledge. With the Hanged Man, like again, I'm seeing you guys were, in this life, you weren't even really vocal. There was something about you, just like when you, like I was saying, as a child in this life, like the adults could sense your presence and it intimidated them and they tried to be like, why are you being so weird? Why does this kid not talk, you know? But you only spoke when you needed to. You were very odd, and there's something a little like frightening about you, I think, because most people could sense the power, but they weren't sure what they were sensing. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm mainly getting for you guys in regards to that life. So give me 1 second and we'll get into the next set of cards. So next we're going to be looking at what did you bring into this life karmically. We have, oh, actually it would be this way, I guess. We have the 9 with lilies, 16 with the key, then we have the 7 of swords, the 3 of pentacles, the Knight of Wands, the 5 of pentacles, Justice. Wow, that was in the last section. That was literally who you were, part of who you were in that life. And the Hanged One, which was the Hanged Man, also in the last section. So give me a second here. One second, you guys, while I rearrange the cards here and just piece it all together. Okay. Also, I'm gonna take a sip of water, you guys, so 1 sec. Okay. One of the things that, well, actually 2 of the things that I feel like you guys brought into this life from your previous life is the wisdom, like that knowledge, that information, oopsies, and patience. But I'm also getting a sense of there's something else behind these lilies, and I'll touch on it once we look at the other stuff down here. But I feel like with the key, it's really talking about wisdom and knowledge. I feel like you guys just came in with that same wisdom, with that same knowledge. It's just engraved in you. You guys are still intuitive, and I feel like you guys are clairsentient. I mean, you have all of the clairs, right? But I feel like your claircognizance is what's like your knowledge is just coming in through claircognizance, right? And claircognizance is the psychic gift of just knowing things. Like it just comes to your brain without you knowing how or remembering where you got that information. It's just there, you know, like a download. So I feel like you guys have that wisdom from those lives. Wow. Okay. I also just felt so much heat in the front of my head. I feel like a presence around my face. You guys have an incredibly powerful energy and soul. Like, oh my gosh. I feel like you guys have, you guys are healers. Yeah. I mean, those gifts that I was telling you about from that life, you guys have them too. It's just about remembering if you're not already practicing them. I also feel as though in that other life, you guys didn't really get to experience love. And in this lifetime, you're meant to. And the person that you guys are going to be encountering is a soul friend. Because I feel like that Viking life, again, because it seems to be the more, we talked about what is the more prominent life for this lifetime, right? So in that lifetime, I feel like that lifetime was very lonely for you guys because you were amongst one of a kind in the place that you were, in your town, in your village. Whereas in previous lives, there were communities of you, or there were at least a few friends. So it almost makes me think of like a general who really cares for their people, and like they're lonely and isolated, but they do it all because they care, you know, like it's their sense of purpose. It feels like that kind of a vibe. And I feel like on some level, you guys brought that into this lifetime too. Like it's very easy for you to put aside certain desires, just thinking that it's going to be exactly like it was then, you know, just thinking that you're not gonna, it's not like there are people like you around anyway. So it's easy for you guys to just put, it's not that it's easy, but it's like, it's more instinctual for you guys to just be like, well, I'm not going to be getting this, so I'm going to put this aside. How else can I be of service? You know, I came here with a purpose. So I feel like that's that emotion you guys brought into in this life, that sense of duty and that emotion. I also feel like, yeah, even with the Seven of Swords, it feels more so like self-betrayal. Like before, you didn't really have options, right? But in this life, I feel like you're actually, I know this isn't even the section where we're meant to be talking about what you're overcoming, but I feel like in this life, you guys actually have companions. You guys actually have some soul family that is incarnated with you. So with this Three of Pentacles, it's making me think of, remember I was saying like previously you would either have a community or a couple of people in a group, you know, so you weren't so alone doing this mission, which you're going to do the mission regardless because it's why you're here. It's your sense of duty, right? But I feel like in this life, you're meant to be overcoming that. You're meant to have your friends. With the Knight of Wands, again, it just kind of feels like with the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Wands and the Five of Pentacles, like this person is doing what they have to do alone. I don't feel like you brought in only negative karma. You know, I feel like you have positive stuff from that life too that you brought in, like your incredible sense of justice. I still feel like you guys are good at giving an impartial view, right? Like you're very philosophical in that regard, almost as if, like if, okay, like say for example, there was a really horrible leader, right, who caused mass murderers and all of this stuff, but they did that because somebody stole them as a child and they taught them to be this way, you know? And so the world goes on to say, oh, this person is horrible, this person is horrible. But then you would go on to say, like, and somebody would come to you and be like, don't you think this person is horrible, right? And you would be like, well, their actions were very dreadful, yes, but it's almost as though they had no choice but to be this person, because they were experienced this and this, and this was the thing that they were groomed to be. They knew nothing different. So to judge this person solely based off of their actions without knowing the story, you know, if anything, I actually feel bad for them. Like, that would be you. And people would be like, what? You know? And I think you'll get a lot of people who think you're very wise. And I think you'll get a lot of people who could also be irritated or frustrated with you because of that, because you have a wider view, you know. Some people feel threatened by that, you know. They feel threatened in their intelligence, in their power. So if people, I even feel like you're like, okay, that's fine, I'm used to it, like that doesn't bother me, whatever, you know, if somebody treats you that way. And you can handle it, but I just feel like it's lonely, you know. And so you guys are being told, like, that's not something you have to experience as much on your own anymore. And it's not like you're only going to be met with opposition, because there are a lot of people who admire you and who come to you for guidance and advice and who value your words. Like, even if somebody meets you one time and you say something to them, they don't know why, but again, it's just, they can on some level sense this, but they value your words. Like, it doesn't matter if you've only met them once. It's enough for you to speak to them, and that is impactful for them. So I just feel like that knowledge, that patience, and that sense of justice, and that clarity, right? Understanding things aren't just black and white, but also knowing that things have consequence. I feel like that is something you've brought in from that life too. And again, there's like this underlying feeling of, I've got to do things alone, or I'm going to end up, not that I have to, but I'm going to end up doing things alone. I also feel like there's a certain melancholy, it almost, what is that? Oh, a sense of nostalgia that you guys have brought in from that life. Almost like a sensation of missing something, missing someone. Not like missing as in that person is absent, but missing as in like, oh, I miss you so much, like that kind of missing. So it's like a certain sense of nostalgia where you're missing someone or something, or a certain time period, or something that you may have not even actually experienced in this life, in this incarnation. But there's a sense of, I miss you, you know, like I miss them, I miss this. I feel like you guys brought that in as well from, it's like missing your star family, okay? It's missing your star family. And you guys are going to get the chance to actually encounter a couple of them in this life. All right, you guys, so next we're going to be looking into, oh, actually, what am I doing? One second. We're going to be looking into what you have the opportunity to overcome in this life. So we have Aquarius. We have the Five of Cups. Interesting, because you have the Five of Pentacles here. Now you have the Five of Cups. The Dream Carrier, so that's the Empress. So it's like what you're meant to be doing in this life, right? Since you overcome. Oh man, I messed it up. Stay. Okay. The Four of Cups. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep the cards neat, but they're opposing that. We have the Spirit of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands. And then we have the Lady of Pentacles, so the Queen of Pentacles. So in this life, you're meant to be just as impactful, but this Aquarius is also, and again, the humanitarian, all this stuff, right? And outworldly being, but I'm getting with this Aquarius card that you guys are meant to actually encounter your star being friends. Like a big part of your purpose is coming together with your family, with your like soul family, your close light being family, okay? Also part of your purpose, again, like a really big part of your purpose is releasing this idea that you've got to handle, that it's just because you guys are used to it, you know, so you don't have to be doing things alone. You guys can have a family. You can have people in your life. It's not taking away from your purpose, you know? So I just feel like in this life, you guys are really meant to be living passionately. It's like you don't have to sacrifice to fulfill your mission on earth. In fact, in this life, it's all about you following the things that bring you joy. And that is you fulfilling your mission. Okay? You fulfill your mission just by existing. So it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice or allow yourself to believe that you have to sacrifice family, love, friendship, and certain dreams and desires for your purpose. I feel like in this life, you guys, and it's funny because in the last life, there was a lot of masculine energy, right? Now there's a lot of feminine energy coming through with the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles. So I feel like in this life, you guys are meant to embody like that, again, your knowledge and all of this, but it just feels like there's more nurturing, there's emphasis, there's so much emphasis on family here for me, you know, family, actual like biological family, soul family, like community. You guys are meant to have your community, okay? You're meant to be going about giving out, fulfilling your purpose by following your joy, and you're meant to experience the sense of community and love that you guys deserve. This life is like a reward for you. So yes, you have echoes of those past like melancholy, nostalgic memories, but it's gonna be hard for you guys to overcome because I think you're gonna on some level keep missing your home. Like your soul family, your soul tribe, your home, your other lives, you know, where this kind of a community was more common, and actually like your family from the stars, right? Because like I said, you guys haven't been incarnating on earth as frequently as some people. But yeah, so I just feel like that's the biggest thing that you guys are going to be overcoming is like you're supposed to get a community. You're supposed to have a community. And that is part of your purpose in this life. It's like part of your reward is getting that community. Okay? Getting that community, having that family, feeling like you have a support system around you. Like you're not the only one who's going about doing the work. You're not the only one who's supporting others. You've got people who are just like you, who love you and who are supporting you too, you know? It's not just you guys giving. Oh, that's why they're giving feminine energy. Yes, because in the last life, it was showing that a lot of you guys were either really masculine or were men. And masculine energy is about giving. And now in this life, you're meant to be experiencing a more feminine energy, a more feminine way of being. And feminine energy is about receiving. So you guys were giving so much, right? So now it's time in this life for you guys to receive. Receive by having your community come to you, your community, your friends, your I guess your guides too. Like you're gonna have guides as well. You're not always gonna be the one guiding people. You know, it's time for you guys to, while you're again, you just existing is you fulfilling your purpose, but it's time for you guys to get that sense of community, right? For you guys to relax and enjoy and feel like you have people who are giving back to you. You're not the only one who's wise. Other people can give you advice too. You're not stuck giving yourself advice all the time. It's nice to be able to turn to someone, and that's what you guys are going to be getting in this incarnation. That's part of your purpose, okay? Next, we're going to be looking at messages from your from your past life to you now, from that past life to you guys now. We have, oh my gosh, I did not see these cards, you guys. What the heck? We have 45 Starseed Elemental. You guys, did I not say the most, like, there's a really prominent energy of you guys being from another star system, carrying all of that. I'm just so excited by that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to work backwards here. Okay. Then we have, wow, 41 Realm Bridger. Yeah, like you guys were really psychic, really intuitive in those lives. And there's going to be more. Hold on. And with the key, right? The key opens a door. And then 24, Evolution. And then we have Corvus, I think it's pronounced, with magic. And Hercules with bravery. Okay. The message that your past life self is wanting to tell you is they're asking you to remember your power. They're asking you to remember just how mighty your soul is. I think you guys have downplayed who you are just because you exist as yourself. So it's really hard to observe yourself. Or like the greatness or the light that you can have, because you've existed with it for so long. It's just a part of who you are, that it doesn't seem special or different. It's just something you're used to. So this is like, again, this past life self is also like a higher self coming through. And I feel like it's just asking you, please remember how special that you are. And because you are special, because you are special, it doesn't mean that you have to be isolated from others, right? You deserve love. Your soul is so powerful, right? We are powerful, as you know, the past life self coming through, right? We are powerful. You have the ability to open different portals to worlds. On some level, you are a walking portal. You are constantly channeling without even realizing it. You are constantly giving people advice. You are constantly brightening people's day or shifting the energy around them just by existing. You are a powerful, 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 divine, sovereign being. And it's time for you to be able to allow yourself to receive too. You are recognized. I feel like that's another thing they're trying to say, is you are recognized. You are being recognized by divine. You are being recognized by your guides, by the archangels, the ascended masters, your whole team. Okay, you're being recognized by these beings who see just how much you have accomplished. Just in this life alone, in this current life, even though you may downplay it, you've actually created such a huge shift in so many people's lives, and you may not even see it because it's after they've encountered you. You may not see them again, but that change is happening. If they ever encounter you again, they could be like, oh my gosh, I never got the chance to thank you because after we had that talk, you inspired me to do this, this, and this, and this. So you don't see the effects of all of the people whose lives you've changed, but you have come through, you have changed lives, and you deserve to be receiving now. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have love and community. And again, there's a huge message of do not downplay your power, because you are extremely powerful. Like, don't do that thing where the ego may come through of, you know I'm powerful, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Is it that power? It's like, yes, you are extremely powerful. Like, everyone is God, right? Because God is everything. But really, you embody like source energy so strongly. conscious energy, like divine consciousness energy, just it goes through you. Like I said, you guys are like a portal, right? And you are the connection between the higher dimensional planes and Earth. That's why you guys kept incarnating, right, in those times to help people. That's why you would come back occasionally, every century or so. Okay? It's because you guys are realm bridgers, right? You're portals. You're light workers, and you help to bring in that divine source code energy to this planet through existing, just through existing. And your soul family is calling you home, and so they're coming to visit you. I feel like you guys have a lot of light being, star being guides and ancestors and friends around you, because you guys, your family misses you, so they're calling you home, and they want you to know, like, they are always with you. They're always around you. They're always guiding you. They're helping protect you. And if you ever have like funny, silly moments in your head, just know that could also be them coming through, having those funny, silly moments with you guys, okay? You guys have the same kind of a sense of humor. And I feel like your past life self is also saying, you've been so brave. You've done so well. You've done so well in everything that you've done, okay? It's okay to allow yourself to just release, to surrender now. You don't have to like carry, right? Because before it was like carrying. It almost feels, I don't want to say it feels like a burden, but it's a sense of responsibility. So now they're saying it's okay to to unleash that. You guys are so magical, like there's something about, again, there's creation energy about you. Like it almost feels like, again, oh, and it's funny, creation energy, and we were talking about alchemy, right? And in life, you guys were working on alchemy. I feel like you guys have experienced life in like the Orion constellation, in the Sirius star system, and you guys could have been even feline light being guides, blue avians, like I'm just getting so many elemental dragon light beings, like I'm just getting so many incredibly powerful divine, and there are some that I'm like seeing, but I don't know what they're named, but their energy just feels so incredible, like one of those beings, if you were to be in a cave full of massive crystals and like really powerful ascension crystals that make your whole body buzz and everything tingles, and you just feel like you're entering a new realm, like one of those beings has that kind of a presence from being very far away, right? So I don't know what this being is called. This is just what they're showing me. But you guys were one of those beings too. Like it feels like a higher dimensional being. Could be like a 9th dimensional being. Like really, they are very higher vibrational, like higher heart chakra, center, base, like heart chakra kind of a being, Christ consciousness, divine flame kind of a thing with those kinds of beings. I don't know what they would be called. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, like I'm getting like that kind of like energy from you guys. It's so incredibly powerful. Like, again, I'm getting Christ consciousness. Like there's something so divinely, highly incredible. Like there's something so holy about you guys, right? Because Christ consciousness, that's like a very higher level state of consciousness. Of compassion and unconditional love, right? So yeah, you guys are really powerful, and this past life self is just asking you guys to remember that. And yeah, it's incredible. And let's get a final message with the dice, guys. We have Capricorn, 6, 2, and Pluto. Interesting. Pluto for me is coming through with the whole death and reincarnation, right? So I feel like this is, again, it also was just showing me like power. It just feels like raw magnetism and power. Capricorn is like that sense of duty, that purpose, the way that you are providing. 6 also is like work, and then 2 is the High Priestess. So I feel like you guys have such a big purpose and mission, and all it is you guys existing. Okay, like you guys just existing. Sorry, I'm like stretching. Okay, I'm okay. So, oh, wow. It's a lot of energy around here. A lot of energy around you guys. A lot of energy around you guys. But yeah, I just feel like your purpose, your mission is you guys existing. And in this life, you are allowed to follow your joy, especially if it's a creative endeavor. Because I feel like for a lot of you guys, it could be an actual creative endeavor. Either something creative, like actually artsy or like writing, you know, along those lines. Or something with technology, like something about creating a new advanced technology or app or some kind of coding or programming or something like that. But it's supposed to be helping people. Okay. And so, and again, your existence is helping people. So I feel like on some level, this is just a reminder of how powerful you are, and that you following your joy, your career path is something that they're saying, go for the things that feel good. Okay. Go for the things that feel good, and you will be fulfilling your purpose and your mission because you have a high sense of duty. Okay, I feel like there's not much that I can say that can make that calm down a little bit. I just feel like it is so engraved in you guys. Almost like maybe in previous lives, you know, even in like that, in one of your star lives, you guys could have been like, again, like I was saying, it feels like a general that cares for the beings, you know, that they're protecting. That's the reason that they're a general. There's this high sense of duty, you know, like I must protect, I must help, I must continue pushing through even if it's hard. Like such a strong soul, you guys have such a strong soul. But yeah, that was your reading, group 2. It was very unexpected to be channeling through something like this, but thank you for existing. Thank you for serving in the way that you do just by existing. And you guys are incredible. I hope you guys enjoyed your reading. If you did, I would appreciate if you guys gave this video a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Do you guys have a connection to like Nordic stuff? Do you feel, you know, like, do you feel it in your gut that you guys were this? Do you downplay your power? Your magicalness? Do you guys feel like it's hard for you to find a sense of community or friends or people that are alike to you? I would love to hear from you guys. Let's chat in the comments. And I do have more videos that are planned that are going to be exciting and fun. So if you guys are up to seeing those videos, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified about when I post a video. And if you guys are interested in either a custom crystal bracelet or a private reading, feel free to reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my email. All right, group 2, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sending you so much love and light. Bye, you guys. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. This is your reading if you chose the number 12, mantis beings, or this image on this card. And before we begin, actually, look how interesting this image is, right? Because it's got a cup here. It also has 2 little spheres of like a moon in it, purple spheres. And there is actually a moon in the background and a purple sky. Okay, let's set your card aside. I do want to put out a little disclaimer here, guys, that, well, is it a disclaimer? I don't know. I don't know what to call it. A little notice, if you will. If it sounds like I'm yelling, it's because I am. Because I got a new tripod and I didn't realize when I was setting up my recording station that it now puts the phone that I record on, which I don't have an external mic yet. So it puts this phone much further away from me. So If I'm yelling, that's why. It's because I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. Also, I did lose my voice a little bit, like some range of my voice a couple of days ago. So I'm still recovering from that. So the yelling isn't helping, but you know, I must do what I must do to fulfill this duty of bringing a video to you. And yeah, so if I take a lot more breaks to like drink water and stuff, that's also why. But yes, let's begin. I just finished shuffling your cards. I don't know if you can see them here, but there's a little stack here. I want you guys to keep in mind actually. So one of the things on the wrong side. One of the things we're gonna be keeping in mind is, since this is a general reading, I am going to talk about who you were in a past life and what that life was like. But when it comes to like specifics career-wise and all of this stuff, I'm not going to get too specific, like saying you were a Viking who owned a trident in the 13th century and you had a blue dog with green hair. Like, I'm not going to be doing that because it's a general reading. So if that were the case, what I would say is I'm getting Viking vibes and there's a good chance that there was a loyal you get what I mean? Like, there's going to be more general, like, I'm not going to say you're a dentist when there's quite a few of you guys watching. It would most likely be things that are similar to a dentist. So some could have been a dentist, some could have been another kind of a doctor, some could have been somebody that does operations or whatever, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get right into it. You guys got quite a few cards. So when it comes to seeing who you guys were in a past life, we have Judgment. Oh, it's so funny too, because there is a fly flying around here and it kept sitting on everything, on the crystals, on the singing bowl, on me, on the cards. And I was so irritated. And when it sat on these cards in particular, I was like, there's probably a fly in this deck anyway. And there is a fly in this deck. Then we also have the Ace of Cups. Look how cute this card is. It's so cute. It just brings joy. Look at that. The Seven of Pentacles. And the Three of Swords. Then we have, this is upside down. We have the Six of Cups. Wait, no, we don't. Sorry, that's going to be on the bottom. I didn't realize you had so many kings, because at some point the King of Swords came out, but I put it away. But we have the King of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles. I didn't look at the cards beforehand, but if some of the cards flipped or something along those lines, I saw them. So I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that you had these either. I saw the Ace of Cups, but the others not so much. The Three of Wands. The Queen of Wands. The King of Wands. And the Six of Cups. Okay. You guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, I don't look at the cards ahead of time unless it's by accident or they flip over. But the cards that did flip over throughout the shuffling process kind of gave me a hint of what we'll be looking at. And I just feel like it is kind of confirmed, especially when I saw that Three of Swords, you guys. I was like, oh, and the Ace of Cups. Okay. I feel like the most prominent past life that they're talking about here is one in regards to romance or love, your love, I should say. I feel like, well, first let's talk about who you guys were in a past life, but I feel like in that life, your romance or your love defined a lot of the energy here, because it's just coming through. I almost feel like in that life, you guys were reunited with a soulmate. Yeah, you guys were reunited with like an ultimate soulmate, or like like a divine counterpart. You guys were reunited with a soulmate that you guys felt so close to, and you had such a powerful love, and it does feel pure. It does feel pure. There was a lot of passion, but it does feel pure. Like, it doesn't feel like it was just sex that drew you guys together. It genuinely feels like romantic, you know? And I just feel like you guys had issues with debt as a couple. The masculine energy and the connection was the provider, because this does feel like a while ago. It doesn't feel like modern times. It doesn't feel like it's really long time ago, but it doesn't feel modern. So I just feel like the provider of the household, which I think was your partner, to be honest with you, was not they were not they were having a hard time with money. I think that something, they were done wrong or something along those lines, and it just feels like they did business with the wrong person, or they asked for help from the wrong person. But it seems like, honestly, your romance was put to an end very shortly. I just feel like there were people that wanted you guys apart, whether it was your family or it was just people who, like I said, like your partner did business with the wrong kind of people. So it just feels like I do feel as though somebody came for your partner and your time was cut short. Like, you guys were separated. And honestly, I feel like this has happened in a couple of lives with you guys in particular, your two souls. Like, they were separated by war before with you. Like, they had to go to war and they died in war. And I feel like there was a lot of separation. And the person that you were in this life before you met them, I feel like there's like an innocent energy around you. That's more like childlike, and it's very lovable, you know? It's kind, it's cute, it's compassionate, romantic, you know, like, even in an era where, because love marriages are relatively new, you know, at least in the last 1,000 years or so. People didn't always marry for love. And I feel like you had this, and a lot of people had accepted that too, because they didn't know any different. But I just feel as though you guys had this idea, this fantasy that you wanted to marry for love. You dreamed of like a knight in shining armor, and you got that in your person. And so when they were taken from you, I feel like it shattered you. The innocence disappeared. I feel like it broke you guys. Because who you were before in this life was just like love, you know? We were just super lovey, super cute. People would have called you gullible or innocent or pure, you know, because I think there was this idea of love. It was the way that you had perceived life was that everything must be coming from a good-natured place. And even when you were with your partner and they were having these difficulties and it turned into stress, or you had little arguments, it would eat at you a little. But I feel like this person was just so stressed, you know, and they didn't want to be this way, but I feel like they couldn't help it. But you were still able to find your understanding, and you would always come back to each other in a loving place. But then when that was pried away from you, I feel like that just took away the innocence, the good-natured, the thoughts that things come from a good-natured place. I feel like they just broke. And to be honest, I feel like you guys didn't live too much longer after your person died. Yeah, I feel like it almost feels a little Romeo Juliet-esque in the sense that I can't live without you kind of a feeling. And I think the world became too depressing to live in after they were gone. And honestly, I feel like you guys ended your own life in that life. It was a shock to many, and I feel like you left behind a child as well when doing that. Yeah. And in regards to how that life played out, again, I just feel like this person was like a divine counterpart. You have the Six of Cups, the Queen and the King of Wands, you know? That's like they're divine counterparts. And like I said, the King of Swords came out, but I had put it back in the deck because I was like, no, we're going to have all kings. And then I see here the King of Pentacles. So I think, yeah, again, it just feels like the security was the issue. But you guys always made do, you know, but I feel like somebody was against your union. Again, whether it was parents, because you had a love marriage. You guys went against the wishes of your family that wanted to marry you to stability or for like to somebody that they know just because that's what people did then, you know? But you went out and you fell in love and you stuck by this person. And again, again, because remember I said it was general, so I feel like it's a little bit of a mix. I feel like I should have kept that King of Swords now, to be honest with you. But it just seems like if it was not your family that wanted to pry you guys apart, it was somebody that your person did business with that was jealous, or they had just literally, like for some of you guys, it was even for no reason. It's like, oh, your person just looked in the wrong direction for a second. They didn't see anything, but they looked, and that was enough to set whoever did it off. Because I feel like your person, for some of you, your person was killed. For some of you, they were taken away, and I feel like imprisoned. Like it's not that they were just taken away from you. I feel like whatever they experienced was very severe. And honestly, very, very cruel. I feel like the connection that you guys had in that life, like I said, like it's very hard to picture you without them. Like this whole section was supposed to be talking about you, but the connection was coming through so much stronger just because I feel like you guys were so close that it literally felt like you are the flesh and I am the bones, or vice versa, you know, like one does not go without the other. Not saying that you guys are two halves of a whole, but it's just the way that you felt together was like inseparable, you know? And I just saw 252, so I think that's interesting, right? A 2 and a 2, and then something in between them. And the thing in between them is a reverse 2. It's a 5. Well, that's how it looks like digitally, you know? And 5 is like making me think of Uranus. It's like an accident or some kind of a drastic change, like out of the blue, out of nowhere, something that like a whirlwind, a tornado, something came through and separated you guys. And I feel like you guys literally like died of a broken heart. Like you could not continue to live without them. You ended your life because of this, like, it felt like a betrayal. You felt like this person, like that's the sad thing too, honestly, is that it's not even you feeling betrayed by the people who did it. It's you also feeling on some level like this person abandoned you because you guys were supposed to spend the rest of your lives together. I feel like you guys had, like I said, like even when there was little moments of bickering or something like that, it was something that you guys always came back. You guys always came back with love. There was so much love for each other. I feel like you guys had big, bright plans, and like it just seems like everything was cut short. Everything was cut short. You guys you were supposed to, like, that's how it feels like, right? That's how you felt. Like you were supposed to do so much together, experience so much, but only after like a year of being married. I'm not saying it was actually a year, but that's the sensation, right? Like a year or two of being married, you guys had a child that was like 1 year old, and this person just, their life was cut short. Or like the relationship was cut short. And I really feel like it was some kind of an ultimate betrayal that has imprinted, it stayed on your heart, you guys. It stayed on your heart. And I feel like you carried that into this life. Whew. Okay, let's look into the other energies that we've got in regards to, 1 second. And it's funny because on the bottom of this deck too, we have the Two of Cups. Look how cute that is. It's like all we have is what we need, and that is love, you know? We have all that we need, I mean. Okay, next we're going to be looking at the karmic things from that past life that have carried on into this life. So we have the 7, and it's so interesting because I was looking at this card before and it made me think of like Eros, right? So that's love. But this person is blindfolded, and the passion, and they've got wings, and they're aiming a fiery arrow at someone. Then we have the High Priestess. Actually, let's do it this way. The 7 of Cups. Strength. And I feel like your family possibly tried to get you remarried, because honestly, what I'm getting from you guys is in that life, I'm really getting that you were female. Again, it's a general reading, so that may not necessarily be the case for everyone, but that's the strong thing here. It just feels like you guys were female in that life. And I feel like your family probably tried to get you remarried, but that just wouldn't do. Like you guys, that only added to your depression, I think. Then we have the 3 of Pentacles, the 4 of Cups, the Chariot, the 7 of Swords, and the Lovers. Yeah, so I feel like relationships are a very big deal in regards to your life in this incarnation. I feel like you guys are somebody that is waiting for the one, and that is something that you have brought in from that past life. I also feel like a part of you guys, like I said, like that heartbreak has come through in that past life. And this person has come through from that past life. I just got chills in my spine. I mean, on my back. I just feel like what you guys karmically brought in, I feel like the reason this is so prominent in this incarnation, like this past life, is because you guys get a do-over. I think you guys are getting the chance to encounter this person again, this ultimate soulmate, to be able to have a happy life. But I feel like you guys are going to have a lot of options when it comes to people, when it comes to finding your person. Because I feel like the people that your family were trying to set you up with are here too. So I think it's going to be confusing, because you're going to be feeling a lot of people have some kind of a soul connection to you. But either something is missing, or you're like, I don't understand, like they would be good for me, so why don't I, like, you know, either you only feel passion for them and then it fades out. Like there always seems to be something to get in between, or in the way between you and these other types of soulmates. And I feel like that is this person that you were just holding on to from that life. Let me see, is this person here in this life? Show me yes. Show me no. Is this person here in this life? Yeah, this person is here in this life. This ultimate love that you guys had that was cut short. And I feel like you guys are going to get the opportunity to come together again to make up for that betrayal. But in order for you guys to come together, I feel as though you're going to have to go into your heart and release that heartbreak. I feel like up until this point, you guys have attracted a lot of relationship dynamics, romantic or not, that have led you to feel heartbreak, because it's an emotion that you care. It, like I said, it like so strongly just imprinted on your heart, you guys, in your soul, I feel like. And it's something that needs healing, because if you don't heal it, I feel like when this person comes into your life, you may have a bit of resentment towards them and not even know why, and keep yourself from having that ultimate fulfillment, because the person that you truly want to be with, you don't allow yourself to be with them. So I just feel like you guys have to do a little bit of heart healing to release this. Because again, like I said, because you had that imprint on your soul when you were incarnated in this life, you came through with that heartbreak already, you know? And so it created situations that perpetuated the heartbreak, that made it justifiable. So I feel like there needs to be some trust, like there needs to be healing in regards to trust issues, and also just like with releasing that hurt from your heart. Because I feel like that's the biggest thing that you guys brought through. There's like, even with this high priestess, like this is a really intuitive card, but look at her. She's sitting there alone, like hugging her knees, you know, she's alone. I feel like you guys like brought that abandonment with you, that loneliness with you, you know? And it's like amongst all these options, nobody seems satisfactory. And the sensation of, you know, going to be alone. I even feel like you guys are going to encounter, like I said, this person again, and those past people, but I even feel like you're going to have that same child. Whether, you know, you guys adopt a human or an animal, or actually biologically have this child, I just feel like you guys, the soul of that child that you guys left behind, I feel like it's going to be coming through here too. And it's just going to be very healing. It's going to be like family healing, you guys. Yeah. And now let's take a look at what you are meant to experience in this life, overcome and experience. So we have Libra. Look at that. That's like balance. Libra is also the heart chakra, you know, it's balancing the heart. It's the scales. It's also love though, relationships, right? And then we have the Two of Swords. The Eight. Oh, look at this Ace of Cups, you guys. Oh my gosh, that was the Ace of Cups of who you were when you met that person in that previous life. So like you're supposed to be able to be that person again, to be experiencing love and romance and come together with your person and like be protected this time, actually have a good outcome this time. Oh, yeah, look at that. You have Ma'at with, what is this? This is 8. Well, I'm guessing for them this is Justice, because this is definitely not the Strength card. So yeah, so this is like Justice. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's literally like divine, and the universe is like saying, yeah, you guys are getting karmic justice in this life, because Libra is also the scales, right? It's justice, it's balance. You guys are getting that karmic justice. We also have the Ouroboros. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is the Wheel of Fortune. And I feel like the Wheel of Fortune is also talking about, on some level, how there is a bit of chance, a bit of surprise associated with this, because you don't know when this person is going to come in. But first things first is, boo, you got to heal that heart, you know? Okay? And then we have the Fool with the Innocent. Oh my gosh, yes, new beginnings. New beginnings. And lastly, we have 8 of Cups. Yeah, like walking away from the things that no longer serve you. And I just feel like that is talking really strongly about the emotions that no longer serve you, that aren't even from this life, you know? So you're meant, in this life, you are meant to have that love, that great love, Okay, you guys? Oh, and lastly, we're going to be looking at the message from your higher self. I mean, well, it is your higher self, I guess, but that past life self to you, your current self. So we have third eye chakra, pineal perspective. This is interesting because we have the high priestess, we have the third eye, we have this blindfolded person aiming for passionate love, but not knowing what they're aiming towards. So this is interesting. We have evolution. And the number for the third eye is 8. For evolution, it's 24. We have balanced forces with 19. Which is, again, making me think of the scales and justice and Libra. We have, arid, it's just life. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. And feminine, interesting. Okay. This feminine energy is making me think of the Ace of Cups. And just like that, the rose tinted glasses that we were talking about, right? Because there seems to be a lot about sight even in that life, right? I was saying it's like you were viewing the world from rose tinted glasses. This person is blindfolded. The high priestess is super intuitive and known for her sight, though she's in the dark here, right? And then we have the third eye chakra, which is pineal perspective. I feel like you guys need a shift in perspective, because I think that you guys think that you are not meant for love. That's interesting because everybody's got different experiences so far, but you guys sort of have similar messages. I feel like you guys feel like you're not meant for love. And I think that a part of you is worried about trusting people because you're worried that they're either going to leave you, and maybe some of you even have like a fear that this person will die before your time is up, and you would be left alone with that like sadness of lost love. And I just feel like, again, the universe, well, this is your past life self, right, is saying, instead of focusing on the hurt, think about the beauty that you got to experience by being in love. Same thing with people in this life from the past. Instead of thinking about how you were left heartbroken before, or betrayed, or alone again, think about the beauty that you experienced while being in love. The fact that you get to be alive and to even have such complex emotions. How good, even if it was just for a moment, but how good loving someone and feeling loved in return felt. You can focus on the negative, or you can focus on the beauty of it, because either way, all of it is just experience. That's what life is, right? And I feel like this version of this past life you is asking you to see past that, to move on past the abandonment, right? And that trauma, and to just experience love again. Allow yourself to open up to love again, so that you can come together with somebody that's going to bring you lots of happiness and joy, okay? I mean, you're going to have that happiness and joy on your own, but someone who will add to it. Okay, you guys? And let's get a final message with the dice. We have Mars. Interesting, because we also have feminine here. 11, but it's making me think, oh, yeah, like justice. The Magician, or 1, and Cancer. And 1 is also Aries, so Aries and Mars. It's interesting that we had Libra energy and then we are having Aries energy with the balanced forces too. I feel like this person, like if you guys are more feminine, this person is more masculine. You guys are very complementary to each other. You have similarities in your core, but on the outside and like practical things, more material things, you guys are different, and it's like a perfect balance. And I just feel like right now, you guys, it's time for you to nurture yourself and to realize that you deserve to have an ultimate love, And it's okay for you to allow yourself to accept it, because regardless of the outcome, don't be thinking about the present. I mean, don't be thinking about, not the present, the past or the future, you know. Think of it as a day-by-day thing. Don't worry yourself or give yourself anxious thoughts over something that hasn't even happened yet or that no longer is happening, you know? All right, group 3, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. If you guys like the reading, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Did this resonate with you guys? Have you guys had fears of losing somebody that you love very dearly? Also, if you guys are interested in wow, I just lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. But if you guys are interested in either getting a custom crystal bracelet or a private reading, feel free to reach out to me in the contacts page on my website or through my email. Also, I have a lot of fun videos planned for this channel, which I'm excited to be working on and putting out. So if you guys want to stay up to date about those, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would also appreciate the support as well. I'm really grateful for you guys, and it's time to open up your heart again, okay? And to release that sorrow. All right, group 3, have a wonderful rest of your day, you guys. Bye. Hi, group 4. Welcome to your reading. This is your reading if you chose the number 38, the third eye, or this image. And let's get straight into it. I'm currently fighting the clock, you guys. So I'm just gonna dive right in. I do want to put out a little disclaimer, just letting you guys know, since this is gonna be, wow, you guys got a lot of cards. Look how thick that stack is. Since you guys, this is a general reading, so we're gonna be looking at who you were in a past life first and what was that experience. Just keep in mind, since it is a general reading, I'm not gonna get too specific on certain details because, again, it is a general reading, so it would be very difficult for that to apply to all of you. But I will be putting in the general and the major consensus energies that are coming through, okay? So first we've got the 4 of Cups, the Knight of Wands, the Ace of Wands. Something also that I wanted to say is I feel like you guys have chosen more than one group. I feel like you guys definitely are like this group and a combination of another group, whether it's group 2, group 3, group 1, whichever, and the Queen of Pentacles. Then we have the 10 of Swords. Oh, yeah, I just feel like there's confirmation that you guys are combination because we have the Lovers. We have the Hierophant, the 10 of Cups, the 4 of Pentacles, and I feel like you guys have been around the block, you know, like you guys are very old souls. The Wheel of Fortune. By the way, if at some parts it sounds like I'm screaming, it's because I'm remembering that my camera and microphone, which is attached to my camera, it's not an external, it's just built into my phone, right? It's much further away because I got a new tripod, so I didn't adjust it properly, and I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So if I change volumes, that's why. So we also have the Ace of Pentacles, the 8 of Cups, the 2 of Cups, and the King of Cups. You guys got the most of these cards than any other group. We'll just put it that way. Okay, so who were you in a past life? Give me 1 second, you guys. Honestly, what I'm getting from you guys, I'm getting that you guys were on your own for a majority of, like, I'm just getting you guys were on your own for a long time in that life. I'm feeling very much like a nomad person. So I feel like you guys were, there's more of a masculine energy. It makes me think of like a young man, you know, like somebody in their late teens / early 20s. But it just feels like a young male energy that is traveling. Again, it doesn't mean that all of you were men. it just, that's the energy that I'm getting here. And I just feel like you guys were traveling for a long time. You traveled from one place to another. There's like a certain sense of adventure that you guys had. And I think it's almost spiritual in a sense, right? Because I feel like through all of that traveling, you learned how to be on your own and to enjoy your own company. You found solace in your own company. But again, there is a little bit of it's like a tinge of loneliness to it, because you guys have traveled so often. You were used to meeting new people and then having to leave those people behind. And I think that's also where that spiritual growth came from. But and it really is such a nomadic lifestyle. And it's not to say that you guys didn't do fun things, because you did lots of fun things. You had more experiences than anybody that you knew personally, you know, and but at the end of the day, I just feel like it's hard to tick all of the boxes. And though the adventure was quenched, the love department was not, because you were always on the move, you know? I'm also getting that in that life, it almost feels like you guys ran away from home. I think that's where the traveling came from too. Like your mind was much more expansive than the people in your town, in your area, in your family, and you couldn't take it anymore. So I feel like this was you guys were very independent. You just kind of went out and just left. You went to travel. You went to experience the world. Even from the beginning, before you guys started traveling, you had a very expansive way of perceiving things, you know? You were very open-minded. You were very curious. You wanted to learn more. You knew there was more to life. I feel like even then, like religion was ruling at the time as a way to enforce how people should be living their lives. And I feel like even then, like you guys were challenging those beliefs. You were like, why should we just blindly believe? Why is this and why is that? And if this is so, then why is that? Like there's such a philosophical mind here, you know? And I feel like your family kind of got tired of you, to be honest with you, because they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like, why do you keep trying to embarrass us? Right? By challenging the norms. Even though you weren't trying to embarrass them, you were actually doing the most smart thing, asking questions. It's more intelligent to ask questions than to just take what something is said to you as fact and live your whole existence based off of that to appear like everything is good. You know what I mean? But yeah, oh, I didn't even notice this has like the world here. But yeah, you see, like I feel, and you see how this man is kind of like looking down, right? The woman is looking at him, but the man is looking down. He looks a little sad or disappointed, or like he's not seeing things clearly. I just feel like it's kind of that thing where there was that disappointed. I think that it's hard to have everything all at once, and you went into the biggest extreme of like independence and that personal freedom and being like the wind, leaving that restricted environment and mentality. And it became hard because you did end up being alone, you know, like you didn't have someone to share your life with for all of your life. There were just multiple people in different phases of your life that would always, it's like everyone was just passing through in your life and you were passing through in theirs, you know? And again, with that note, oh, that's so interesting. Because like I said, I don't look at the cards when they come out, but sometimes they flip over, or if I move something and I see something, you know. And I noticed that there was a 4 of Pentacles, and I think something else, like I think there was another 4. And I remember thinking about home, their purpose, part of their purpose in this life is to have a sense of home. So it actually makes sense, because you guys didn't have a home because you were nomads. There was no home. And it's not like you were homeless like and suffering. It's just you guys were constantly on the move, like adventurers, you know, explorers, and it just, because of that, you didn't have a stable place to hold all of your things and people that you care about, you know. But now let's get into the next portion of the reading, which will be What did you bring karmically into this life from that life? We have 18. It's so interesting, right? Because like I'm getting, like I said, I'm getting that, like there's the energy here is not like, there's that tinge of, it's like not saying you never had any romantic partners in that life. Of course you did, you know? It's just no one was there for long. You wouldn't stay for long enough to have that. So because of like all, and like I said, there was a lot of fun experiences in this life, in that life. But it just seems, you see, like even with this 18, we'll get to it in a second. We have the 13 as well, which is funny, right? Because you guys chose 38. And if we rearrange this, it's like if you take the last number of here and the last number of here, it's 38 or 83 in this case. 3 plus 8 is 11, and then you have 1 in between each. So that's like 4 ones, right? So that's like 11, 11. And then speaking of 11, the number 2 in Roman numerals looks like an 11, and you have the High Priestess. The Knight of Cups. You guys have a lot of knight energy. The 4 of Cups, the Devil, Death, 5 of Wands, 9 of Wands. Okay. So, sorry for the cut. There was noise, so I had to cut it. But in regards to what you carried over karmically from that life, I feel like that enthusiastic, like fiery energy has come through from that life too. Like that passion, that thirst for life, the sense of adventure. And it's interesting that I was saying earlier, it felt like the energy of like a young man, or like a young male energy, or masculine. And that's what this person kind of looks like, you know? I feel like this card embodies everything that I was saying about the energy that we have there, you know? And with the Knight here too, again, this, for whatever reason, is making me think of someone who is always traveling. I just feel like you guys had a very playful, very charming personality then. And I feel like that carried into this life as well. And another thing that came through, honestly, every time I see this particular High Priestess, it always makes me think of that sense of being alone. So I just feel like the independence that you guys had then carried through here, as well as that with the 4 of Cups, slight dissatisfaction, right? Because you have the 4 of Cups here. I feel like that's even why you guys started traveling in that life in the first place, right? Is because you were feeling unsatisfied with your current environment, and it just seems like that sensation has come through. It's almost like it has led you to have so many incredible experiences and so much growth and expansion, but it also, in some level, became like a prison for you guys, because you're constantly looking for the next thing to feed that unsatisfaction or dissatisfaction. So I feel like that's something that you guys are bringing, that you guys brought in this life too, is that sensation of not being satisfied, always wanting more. I feel like it could be even hard for you, because I'm getting like a Morris energy here, right? Like it could be hard for you to commit to somebody romantically, because you're wondering if there's someone better out there for you. You're constantly wondering if there's something better, if there's something that's more aligned with you. And I just feel like with this Devil energy, that is the ball and chain that you guys are stuck with. It's like a double-edged sword, because it gives you that sense of adventure. It gives you that expansive mindset. It makes you charming, fun, energetic, charismatic, but it also keeps you from ever placing down roots. And it makes you feel like you won't be able to place down roots, because even with the home, it feels like you feel unsatisfied. Like you guys may want to move from one apartment to another, from one house to another, from one state to another every couple of years, because you're constantly needing something new, something new, something new. When really, I feel like if you guys can find that full satisfaction within yourself, then you don't have to constantly be looking for an external stimulation to satisfy the need of something new, if that makes sense. I also feel like you guys carried in a little bit of that conflict with family. I feel like you guys could have had in this life a traditional family, or a family that's more maybe the culture that you guys are from is a little bit more restrictive or more proper, you know, and very, very prominent about other people's opinions and appearing proper, right? So I just feel like in this life, you guys you carried in that same like restriction from your family and like the burden to overcome and to be different, I feel like, and to have to deal with being different. Because even with the 9 of Wands, I'm getting that energy too, with the 9 and the 5 of Wands. So I kind of feel like on some level, you slightly repeated that cycle, just not as extreme. Now let's take a look at what you guys are meant to experience in this life / overcome from that previous one. So we have the end of fall, which is interesting because we also have death, right? And fall is associated with death. We have the beginning of spring. We have Virgo, Saturn, the 4 of Pentacles. Oh, this is not gonna, okay, there we go. Actually, how to put this so that you guys can see it all. 1 second. Okay, this. Okay, there. I think this will be better. So the King of Swords, the Hanged Man, the Ace of Cups, the 5 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, or the Ouroboros. I think that's how it's pronounced. Ouroboros. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. And then the 10 of Wands. So I feel like the thing that you guys are meant to overcome in this life is, well, basically the stuff that we talked about. I just feel like that is very much the thing that you're meant to overcome. The sensation that you constantly have to be looking for something outside of yourself, or that it's scary to plant down roots somewhere. And even if you plant down roots, you can always move, but I just feel like it has held you back in regards to commitment in your love life. Even in friendships, like with friendships, you guys come in and out of friendships and people are used to that friend-wise. But I just feel like there's going to be a chapter in your life, which is part of your growth, right? That has to do with you guys embracing staying. Even if like you normally move every 2 years, but you decide to stay for 5 years in one place, you know? I know to some of you that may sound like 5 years, that's way too much. That's like 5 years of my life. And it's like, but you're going to want to stay. You see, I feel like that's going to be the thing that's changing. With the 4 of Pentacles, this is about a home within yourself, right? It's a sense of security, but it's also a home. And right underneath it is the Ace of Cups. So it's almost like, I feel like you guys don't even stay for yourselves. Like, even though you have this independence, for example, right? Like a child, though doing adventurous and fun things is fun for a child, at the end of the day, for a child to grow up healthy, they need a sense of stability. They need some kind of a stability to keep everything from feeling like you know, to help them feel like they're growing up in a regular, not regular, but like a decent way, so that they can feel secure in their life. They need a certain sense of stability. So I just feel like your inner child, because it's almost like you guys have been going for that freedom because yes, it's a drive, but a part of you is also lashing out at family or the people or the culture that restricted you. But I feel like your inner child craves a sense of stability, which is why even in your constant movement, when you slow down, you feel that sense of I need change, I need more, like unsatisfaction. That's the word. Because when you guys slow down, it's not that there's unsatisfaction because you constantly need to be on the move. It's almost like you constantly need to be on the move to avoid this unsatisfaction that you feel within yourself. It's like you guys are running away, you know? And that's not to say that you don't genuinely want adventure and all of the stuff you do, but I just feel like you're using it as an excuse to perpetuate something that could just be addressed within yourself. That loneliness within yourself. You fill the loneliness with new experiences, when really what you have is loneliness from being isolated by your family and community that was supposed to show you that you're supported regardless of your beliefs, regardless of how you are, regardless of how different you are. But it's like you guys were isolated and your response was a little bit more. That's why I guess I was getting that young male vibe, right? It's like your response was like, if you're going to isolate me, fine. I'm going to be on my own and I'm going to make it, you know, worth my while. Like you don't isolate me. I isolate myself from you, you know, like it just kind of feels like that type of a response. So I just feel like that hurt child needs to be shown like that stability and support and acceptance. But it's hard for people to accept you if you don't stay long enough to be part of their friendship group, right? Or their lives in general. So I feel like you guys are constantly moving to a new place because it's easier to run away than to settle with the fact that you are dealing with a sense of loneliness, of isolation, of, what is that word? I can't think of the word, but it's almost like, I'm like having a brain fart. I can't think of the word, you guys, but yeah, it's along the lines of what I was saying, like that isolation, almost like exile, you know what I mean? Like you've exiled yourself and you're like, I will not go back because these people hurt me. But instead of saying it's because they hurt me, I'm going to say it's because they don't get me. I have bigger dreams than them. And I'm going to go on and do that. I mean, you do have bigger dreams than them, and they did not get you. But I'm just saying, like, instead of it being healed, I feel like you used your passion for life as an escape more than, like, actually just doing things to experience it. So I feel like that's something you guys are going to be, in this life, overcoming, is, like, creating that sense of stability for yourself, having a home and sharing that home with someone, you know, like having a partner, a romantic partner, having friends that stay, that you can see more frequently, you know. Let's see what else. Yeah, even with this 10 of Wands, you know, this person is on their own, overcoming that sensation that you are on your own, that you have to do things on your own, that being on your own is the only way to be okay, because other people will disappoint you in the end, or other people will want to kick you out or will keep you down. They'll hold you down. That's not the case if you find the right people, right? So even with the Hanged Man and this Wheel of Fortune, I just feel like it's like a change in perspective. It's a change in perspective. And with the Five of Pentacles and the King of Swords, it's like having to really dive deep into the things that you didn't allow yourself to look at before, that you had run from looking, that you like put up a wall and you're like, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it. And I'm just going to keep doing the things that make me happy, kind of a thing, you know? Okay, guys, now moving into your final messages. This is going to be a message from your past life self, this prominent past life self, which is also your higher self, I suppose, in that form, to you. So we have the infinite with the number 49. Internal. Oh, wow. This is unreal. Internal explorer with the number 32. That is hilarious, because what we were just talking about was like going on all these external things, right? And running from like the stuff that you need to have inside. And now they're saying like it's time to explore inside. Oh my, look at this. Home with 31. And Starseed with 46. We also have the Crux with Divinity. And Leo Minor with Master. So I feel like, wow, sorry guys, I need a sip of water. Give me one sec. So I feel like that past self is coming through with a message asking you to explore yourself, to realize that there's more. It's almost like life is an adventure. I'm gonna channel as if, you know, they're saying it, right? So life is an adventure. I want you to see it. I want you to explore. I want you to travel. I want you to enjoy it. But I also, if there's anything that I have learned from my experience that I would want you to learn from and not have to experience any further yourself, is to explore yourself. Learn to explore yourself as well. Learn to stay. It's okay to have a home, and from that home base, you go on trips often. You know, you don't have to have a completely nomadic lifestyle like me, where I went from one place to another to another. It sounds fun. It sounds exotic. It sounds cool, you know, and it is. But you get tired of not having a place. It's nice to have the balance. It's nice to be able to have a place that feels like stability when you need something stable. And then you can always go and travel from that moment on, you know, moving forward. You can take 10 trips a year if you wanted to, but it's nice to have that home base. And that home base, not just in a physical home, but also with like people. You don't have to stay stuck with people from a small town that don't think wider than you. You can find people who are similar. But it's okay to have that sense of community. It's okay to have that one person, not the multiple, because you're afraid of commitment. You're afraid of picking the wrong choice. It's okay to try a couple of people, and then it's okay to also explore trying to stay with someone. Don't think of it as settling. Just take it day by day, staying with them. And who knows, maybe you'll want to share a home with them. Maybe you'll want to share a life with them. And maybe, just maybe, you'll even want to be traveling with them. So I just feel like okay, now this is me, Milka, talking. But now I just feel like that's the thing that this past life self is emphasizing, is there's so much to explore. But if they could, one of the biggest things that they would have wished they could have explored is having a home. Because at the end of the day, you go through life and it will turn into a regret when you're older. And you keep yourself from connecting with the world on an even deeper level of understanding by doing that, you know? Because if you travel the world to observe how people live, it's like, that's great, that's wonderful, but you're also keeping yourself from being able to have a certain type of lifestyle too, you know, to have a family. But yeah, that seems to be the biggest message that they have for you guys. And give me 1 second. I'm going to do the dice too. We have Pisces, the number 8, the sun, and 3. Whoa, you guys, 38, and then you have, and I put it down as 83 again, but you have 38 again. So 38 could be a significant number for you guys, or March 8th could be, or August 3rd, or just 3 or 8 or 11, since that's what they add up to. And then we have the High Priestess twice. So I do feel like you guys are very intuitive and you have a very deep and rich inner world. So it's time for you guys to try to explore that a little bit more. Because I feel like some of you would have said that, but I did explore my inner world. Now it's time for adventure. Yes, it's time for adventure, but I feel like some of the core things that are calling you to have adventure need to be addressed as well. Okay, guys? And also, you're going to get the opportunity to do everything under the sun. Okay? So don't stress it too much, you know? Just take everything day by day. Don't think about, oh my gosh, but 2 years, you know, just day by day. All right, group 4, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let's have a conversation. Do you find yourself, you know, wanting to explore and travel secretly because there's a part of you that is running away a little bit? Or do you just genuinely have like a wanderlust? Do you feel like you've been exploring yourself a little too long and now it's time for you guys to travel? I would love to hear from you about that. Also, I do have a lot of video ideas planned for this channel. So if you guys are interested in keeping up with them, I would appreciate if you gave this channel a subscribe so that you can be notified when I do post a video. And yeah, lastly, if you guys are interested in a custom crystal bracelet or a private reading, you can reach out to me either through my contacts page on my website or through my email. But that was it for your reading, group 4. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sending you lots of love and light. Bye, guys.